Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to show you guys how to remove or replace the timing chain on a 2003 Saturn VUE. And first thing we're going to do, we're going to remove the air box and the valve cover. So I'm going to get started with that and I'll show you what I'm doing as I go along. Okay guys, so the first thing we want to do to take off this air box, I actually just loosened everything up here. There is a screw here. You can see that right there. We're gonna loosen. We loosened that one up, and then just the clips on the air box right here. So you also want to make sure you take off your sensor, and this one's just a pinch. So you kind of push it down, bring it out. I loosened up this breather hose here. Now my hose is kind of beat up here, and it's I think it's time for a new one, but I don't want to break it. I don't want to rip it, and here on this side it's also pretty bad, as you can see. Now here's a tip for you guys: whenever you remove these type of hoses, you always want to remove them from the metal part. What happens if you remove them from here, you could break off the little nipple that comes out right here, and then you're screwed because you have to get a whole new piece, or maybe like get some JB weld and put that back on there. So I sprayed a little WD-40 to loosen it up, went through the backside, you know, I popped out the holes. So now this comes off, have the sensor off, this whole piece just removes. Okay guys, so I got all my bolts loose. I have the bolts loose for the coil housing here, and we want to remove this connector here, so I went ahead and I loosened it up here. We want to get rid of that, and there are 10 bolts altogether, so they go all around the valve cover. And I loosened them up. I loosened them up with my impact, and I also loosened up the bolts here for the coil housing. Now these ones you don't really want to use an impact for because they're really thin bolts, so they can actually break off on you. You don't want that to happen. So I went ahead and just loosened these by hand. Now when I remove the coil housing here, there's going to be 4 more bolts underneath here holding the valve cover. So I'm going to remove all the other ones, and then I'll get to that. Okay, so I took all the bolts off. Once I took the coil housing off, there are 4 more bolts in here that we take off. Got those removed. And this is also, there's also a bolt here that holds a ground connector here. And I went ahead and backed it up. This is a 13mm one. And by the way, all the other bolts are 10mm. So I went ahead and just got a deep socket. This whole piece comes out right here. The bolt and nut. And this little ground connector comes off, so I'm going to put that there. And once you do that, this thing is ready to come off. So I'm just going to finagle this thing off. Okay, I got the valve cover off and everything's looking pretty good inside. Let me show you what I wanted to show you here. And these vehicles, the 2.2 Ecotec engine is a very delicate engine. I mean, they're not bad engines, but they're very delicate. And once these tensioners start to go, you can have serious problems, which means if they fail, the chain will keep going and it'll bend your valves. This is an interference engine. But I've been hearing a tick in this car, and if you notice here, here's my chain. And see how loose that is? That should not be like that. It should be nice and tight. And that's what's giving me the tick. So that's actually hitting like on the top of this guide here. And what the problem could be is maybe down on the bottom where the chain guides go. Maybe one of them's broken, one of them's bad, or the tensioner is bad, and the tensioner goes right back here. So I'm gonna go ahead and be removing that. I'm gonna go ahead and take off this this air box here, the bottom part, so I can get down to the motor mount. I'm gonna have to release the motor mount so I can actually get down to the timing cover. I want to remove that. Since I'm here, I'm gonna inspect it. I got new guides. I'm just gonna swap them out to make sure I have peace of mind. Okay, so I'm supporting the engine from the bottom. I'm just using my small jack, and I got a piece of wood block here, and I'm just putting it underneath the oil pan, so that way that gives me the support for when I remove the motor mount. Okay, now up here at the top, here's your motor mount. It's actually held on by a couple of bolts here, so we're going to remove these three top ones here, the ones on the side, and that should let the motor mount come out. the jack is going to be supporting the engine, so we shouldn't really see it move too much. Maybe it's going to move a little bit. And then after we do that, we're going to remove the serpentine belt. Okay, so I went ahead and removed the bolts, and here are the three that I did. I did these ones first, so the engine dropped a little bit, and it's being supported now. And got the two nuts here on the side. Now these three bolts are 16 millimeter, and the nuts on the side are actually 18 millimeter. So I'm just gonna remove these, put them on the side here, and take out these three. And now your mount comes right off. Okay, now we have access to the other bolts that are going to be for the timing cover, and then I still have to take off the wheel. Okay, so now what I'm doing here is I'm taking off the serpentine belt, and that's going to be the belt here that goes from your that goes around your alternator, your air compressor, and the harmonic balancer pulley. We're going to go ahead and remove that. So what I have here, I have a serpentine belt lever. And once you put it in, there's a little slot down there that it goes into on the pulley arm, and we just bring this back, and you see how it relieves, it moves, and it relieves the tension. So let me see if I can do this with my elbow and show you guys what I'm doing here. Okay, so I got the tension relieved, and now all I gotta do and just pull that belt off right there, and I got the tension off of it. There we go, it's off. Bring this back, and now we should be able to take off that pulley arm. Okay guys, I'm down here at the side, and I've taken the tire off, and here are my new rotors. I actually just did these yesterday. So I've taken the tire off, and this is what's we're gonna take the harmonic balancer bolt off to remove the pulley. And this is what's cool about this car here, about the Saturn VUE, is you see that bolt straight in there. That's for the pulley arm, for the tensioner pulley. That's for the arm. We can just remove it from here, and we're gonna be dropping that. We're gonna be taking that off. Okay, so I loosened up the pulley arm, and I'm just taking it off now. Takes a little bit of finagling here to get this guy off, but here it is. And by the way, this is a 16 millimeter that you're going to be using. So once you remove it, you have a little bit more room, and you're going to have access to the bolts for the timing cover that are going to be at the top. Okay, so the next step, we're going to be removing the harmonic balancer bolt, and this is going to be a 21 millimeter. So I'm going to go ahead and get that taken off. Okay, I went ahead and backed this off. So take that off, and here's the pulley. Now we can just go ahead and pull that out. Comes out very easy, and you can check your seal. Everything actually still looks really good. Okay, so the next step here is I'm going to start removing all the timing valve cover bolts. There's going to be 10 bolts altogether, which we have 1 there, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's another one up right. Okay, so here we're going to have to take off this motor mount bracket. I didn't want to have to remove it, but there's a bolt that's right underneath here that I just can't get to because this is in the way. So this is held down by 3 bolts. You can see right here I already backed them up, and these are going to be 18 millimeters. So once you actually get to that point, you can just remove these guys and take off the bracket. It's actually pretty simple to do. There goes one of the bolts. But and set this to the side, and now we have access to that pesky little bolt, which is right underneath right here. And now we have room to actually get to it. So once we take that, we're gonna, here are the other 4 bolts, by the way. There's 1, 2, oh sorry, you guys didn't see that. 1 there, 2, 3, and 4. These are the 4 top bolts I was telling you guys about. And now I can actually remove the timing cover, take that off, and then here is our plug for the timing, one of the timing chain guides, one of the bolts goes in through here, so we're going to be removing that in just a little bit. Okay, so now I'm here, and I already removed all the bolts for the timing chain cover. I did all 10 of them, including the water pump hole, and I have all the bolts right here. So these 10 are going to be 10 millimeter, and the water pump bolt is actually going to be 13 millimeter. So once you remove those, this cover is ready to come off, and then we can see what's going on inside. We can inspect. Okay, so I went ahead and pried it open. Now this thing was very stuck, so there's a little part right here, tab that sticks out, and you know, I don't know if this is for your primer or not, but this is where I put it in, and then I just lifted it, you know, I pried into it, and it came undone. So this is what we do. Now make sure you guys have some rags ready. This thing's gonna leak some oil from there, so I'm gonna finish removing this, and I'll show you what it looks like from the inside. Okay, so I took the valve cover off. I'm sorry, not the valve cover, the timing cover off. And everything actually looks really good in here. My guides are actually really good. There is the timing cover, and by the way, your oil pump is in here, guys. So if you ever need to replace that, that's where it's going to be. Okay, guys, just to show you what's in here, you got your balance shaft chain down at the bottom. You got your timing chain. There's the oiler. Right here is the oiler, and that's actually looking pretty good. My guides are actually looking really good. They're intact. You can see that there, and everything's looking pretty good. So what I'm thinking, a couple of things. The reason for that tick, it's either that tensioner has failed and it just needs to be replaced, or the chain over the years, I mean, this is a 2003, and it hasn't been done before. This is maybe stretched out a little bit. So instead of just changing out the tensioner, I'm just gonna replace the whole thing. I'm just gonna replace the chain and the guides. Might as well just do it since I'm gonna be in here. And we're gonna start off by taking off the chain guide, and up at the top I'm gonna actually be removing the cams so I can actually get to actually get the chain off. Alright guys, by the way, think ahead and do yourself a favor. Since this is open, all your oil pan's down here, so there's an opening here, and what I did, I just went ahead and put a rag here. I'm gonna be removing some of these removing these small bolts here, and you could actually drop one and it could go into your oil pan. And I haven't drained the oil out. I mean, you can always use a magnet to get it out. If it goes in there, it's just going to be a pain in the butt, and you may actually have to drop the oil pan to be able to get it out. So just think ahead and cover it up. Anything that looks like it can be like that can swallow a bolt. Here's the bolt for the other guide here that we're going to be removing, and like I said, the oiler looks pretty good, so we're going to be leaving that intact. Okay, let me go ahead and show you what's going to be done at the top. So a couple of things I have to do up here. I'm going to be removing this plug here, and I'm also going to be removing the tensioner here, and I'm going to be removing this this chain guide, and I'm also going to be taking off the cams. I don't want to have to worry about if they're open or closed or anything like that. The easiest way, and I'll show you guys a pretty cool little trick here, as far as how to set everything in time and how to put the timing chain back on, how to just pop everything right on in, and it's easy. You can do it in 5 minutes. It saves you a headache. Okay, so here up at the top, I used a 3/8 hex bit, and I just went ahead and broke it loose with my breaker bar. It's going to be on there pretty tight. This is why you put the rag down there, just in case. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is remove that tensioner. Okay, so I loosened up that tensioner back there, and that is a 1 1/4 inch socket. I've had this one here from about a Harbor Freight a while back, and I used it with my breaker bar. and I just went ahead and broke it loose. And now I can take off the tensioner. Some oil is going to leak from back there, so make sure you guys have some rags. But here's what it looks like. Got it out. Okay, so now the next step is I'm going to be taking off the cam gears. For me, it's a lot easier just to remove the cam gears for the next step after that. Once I actually start putting everything back together, now I can just remove the cam sprockets and remove the chain and everything and be good. But then I have to worry about everything else being open, closed, that type of thing. You're gonna have to find top dead center, so we're gonna have to move it around a little bit to make sure everything's where it needs to be, and I don't want to take a risk of it hitting the valves or bending anything. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna take off the cams, and I'll be able to remove the chain. I'm also gonna be removing the bolt from this plug here. That's gonna be for the chain guide, and I'm gonna be removing the bottom bolts as well, and the other one on the left side, so right over there. Those are the ones to remove next. So actually I'm going to do that first, and then I'm going to be removing the cams. Okay, so here I went ahead and backed up this this bolt here for the chain guide, and that's this bad boy right here. And this is a 10mm, by the way. All the chain guide bolts are going to be 10mm. So there's one right there that I just went ahead and removed. And now I'm going to go take the other one from the top side off. Okay, so I loosened up my first chain guide, and here it is. I'm just going to go ahead and remove it. Just take it out from the bottom here. And here it is. It actually looks pretty good. I mean, it's in good shape. I'm still going to remove it, just keep it as an extra one. You never know when these things are going to break down. I got the new one anyway, so might as well. And the next one we're gonna do, we're gonna go ahead and do that one right there. So let me go ahead and loosen that one up, and I'll take it off. So now I have this other guide loose right here, and this one you can finagle it through the bottom or just take it off to the top. I'm just gonna remove everything and just probably remove it from the top. But now our chain is actually pretty loose here, so let's go ahead and go up to the top, and now it's time to take off the cam gears. Here up at the top, I just removed the 2 bolts that hold the top chain guide, and now that that's removed, we can just take this off. And these are held by 2 10mm bolts in there. So now it's actually time to take off the cams, and I'm just gonna we're gonna take off the cams so that we can go ahead and remove the chain. Okay, so now I got all the bolts backed up to the caps, and these are just easy to take off now. I'm just going to go ahead and start taking these off. I'm going to take the cams and I'm just going to set them aside. These ones are labeled up at the top, starting from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then you got one in the back over there, so we're going to be sliding that cam out. Okay, so here I popped off the first cam. I went ahead and just lifted it up. So, and this is our exhaust cam. Gonna set that down here. You also put the caps in the order. I want to keep that and set aside. And we're gonna do the next one here. See, our chain is already off, and I'm just gonna set that aside here. We gotta remove that guide. So now that guide can come out, and gonna take the intake cam off. Okay, so now I'm here at the top, and I removed the cams, made sure everything is looking good here, and I got a long screwdriver. What we're trying to do is we're trying to find top dead center, and finding TDC down there, we can just move the crank to make sure we're at TDC. So I took off a spark plug just to put the screwdriver in, and I can feel the top of the piston here. So that's pretty good. We're at top dead center. You don't need to take out the spark plug. I just do it to make sure. Let me show you another way that you know. Here's the new chain that I'm going to be installing, and you can see it's got the markings for the for the cam sprockets. It's got the exhaust and the intake marking, and then at the bottom it's got that for the crank. So that's for the crank sprocket down there. So that's where we're gonna put it, and that's gonna be at 5 o'clock. So these two here are gonna be at 2 and 10, and the bottom one's gonna be down at 5. So I'm gonna set that here to the side. And here's the old chain. Same thing. This has got red markings on it, so that way to let you know where it goes. Okay, so here, another again, the reason why I took off the cams is because I just wanted to make sure that everything was closed, all the valves were closed while I rotated the crank to find top dead center. Otherwise, what you're going to have to do, you would have to actually use a wrench to rotate the cam just enough, you know, you can find that the top dead center, rotate at the bottom. It's just a big hassle. So this way, it's a lot easier for me. I'm gonna go ahead and put the cams back on now, and I'm gonna put them at the position that they need to go. So I'm gonna put the exhaust side at 10 o'clock, the intake side at 2 o'clock, and I'm gonna put the chain in there. I'm gonna place them down. It's gonna make it so much easier to do, and I'll show you what that's like. Okay, so here what I did, I went ahead and put the camshaft back on, and it's actually, I got the exhaust, or the intake, sorry. That's there, and you see the line that's matched up with the dark colored link, and that's our intake side. So that's at the 2 o'clock position, and then I'm gonna put the other one down over here, and I'm gonna set it up at the 10 o'clock position, and everything is open. There's nothing closed. So when I put the bearing caps back on, everything should sit pretty good, and none of the valves are gonna be open. Down at the bottom, I have the chain down there, as you can see, and I'm gonna set that up at 5 o'clock. I'm also going to use some assembly lube here that I have, and I'm going to be putting these assembly lube on the bearing caps and putting that together. Now I'm not tying anything just yet because I still have to go down to the bottom and put in my guides. So as you can see down here, I got the chain hanging, and I have my 2 new guides right here. I'm going to cover these in some oil, so I'm going to be squirting some oil on them, so that way they're not going in dry. And this chain guide is actually going to go through the top, so I'm going to drop it in through the top, and I'm going to put this one down through the bottom, and that's pretty much going to go like that. So I'm going to go ahead and cover these in oil. I'm going to put them in. I'm going to put them inside. Okay, so I'm about to put the bearing caps back on to tighten up that intake cam, and I put a healthy coating of assembly lube on it, so that way again, it's not dry. I just went ahead and cleaned them off, cleaned up any debris on the actual cams themselves. So I'm gonna go ahead and tighten these down, and then I'm gonna go ahead and drop the guide on the top. Oh, I'm sorry, I already actually dropped the guide through the top. I'm gonna go ahead and put the other cam, and I'm gonna set it up to time. Alright guys, so I got the bearing caps back on. I still haven't tightened them up. I'm gonna go ahead and tighten this up in this sequence. So we're gonna go, this is gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6 right back here with where the cap is at. So we're gonna do our final one. That's gonna be 6, and that's gonna put even pressure on the cam. So now we got the cam set up at the 2 o'clock position, and we're gonna do the intake cam at the 10 o'clock position. Also, these bearing caps are going to be torqued down to 89 inch-pounds. So that's what the manual calls for. We're going to do those at 89 inch-pounds, except these two back ones. If you can see, these 2 back ones are going to be 18 foot-pounds. So these are going to actually be foot-pounds at 18, but we're going to tighten that up. So I'm going to snug these up, get these things torqued down, and then I'll show you guys the exhaust side. Alright guys, so the whole reason, again, I took off the cams was to set this to time, and I didn't replace the cam gears. By the way, these bolts here, when you take them off, they're stretch bolts. So when you put these back on, when you take them off, you want to get new ones, and they go to a certain torque, and then you gotta go a few degrees over. So I didn't want to bother with it. I just went ahead and took off the cam and kept the sprockets or the gears, because they're still good. They're not bad. So this one right here is set already. the intake one, and then I got the exhaust one. I don't know if you guys can tell here, but the exhaust line matches up right here with the dark color link. So we are good there. And then let me show you at the bottom. At the bottom, here at the 5 o'clock position, I got that link matched up down there. And the reason why I did it that way, by taking off the cam, because now I'm just gonna push it back into to its spot, and everything's gonna be set to time. Otherwise, I have to kind of finagle, and I gotta do all these crazy things to make sure that it goes into place at the right timing. This way, it's so much easier, and it saves me a ton of time. Actually, maybe 5 minutes. It's what it takes me to set this thing on time. So let me go back up to the top, and I'll show you what I'm gonna do. Okay, so now I'm back here at the top, and all I'm going to do, I'm just going to put this cam back in its place. And that's it. Everything is set to time. We got this right here. We got it at the 10 o'clock. We got the 2 o'clock, and we got the 5 o'clock down below. Now I'm just going to put the bearing caps back on, put some assembly lube on this, and put the bearing caps back on, and I'm done. It's time to start putting everything back together. The guides, I'm going to tighten those up. As you can see, I already have one of the guides down there. I'm going to put the other guide on the right side, and it's time to put it all back together. But it's a very simple process as far as doing the timing on these engines. Now, if you don't have assembly lube, you can also use oil. It's just douse it in oil, and it's exactly the same thing. So I just like to use assembly lube for just rebuilding engines. I like to go ahead and just kind of so used to using the assembly lube. Alright guys, I'll show you what everything looks like once it's put back together. Alright guys, so I got my guides, my chain guides all in here, and let's see if you guys can see that one. Now it's time to torque them down, and these are going to be torqued to 89 inch-pounds. That's what we're going to torque them down to. So this bottom one and the top one, we're going to torque them down as well, 89. This one here is 89, and the last thing we're going to do is put the tensioner on. Alright guys, so I just put my tensioner in back over here, and now it's time to torque it. And the tensioner goes torqued at 55 foot-pounds, so I'm going to go ahead and get that torqued down. Alright guys, so I got everything torqued down. I got my guides all torqued down. I have my tensioner all torqued down. Everything is good. Let me show you where we're at. So right there, the intake is at the 2 o'clock position, and the exhaust, you can see that's at the 10 o'clock position. And let me take you guys down to the bottom. Alright guys, now here at the bottom, I got everything torqued down. I got my guides all torqued down. See how everything is nice and tight. This link is right there with the guide. So everything is atop that center, and we are good to go. Now let me show you guys how tight the chain is. Now I just need to put the top guide on, and I'm going to go ahead and do that in just a bit. But you guys remember, the reason I haven't put it on, I wanted to show you guys how tight the chain is. So that's about as much as that chain's going to move, and everything is nice and tight here. So we are good to go. I'm just going to put the top chain on. I'm sorry, the top guide on, put the valve cover back on, put the covers back on, the serpentine belt, and I am done. Anyways guys, that's how you guys replace the timing chain in the 2003 Saturn VUE. Hope this video helps you guys. If you guys have any questions, any comments, go ahead and leave them at the bottom, and I'll try to answer any questions you guys may have. Okay, so I just finished putting her back together. This is the first crank, and she's sounding good, running really smooth. So new timing chain, new guides, new tensioner, and she sounds good. Alright guys, well I hope this video helped you, and subscribe to the channel. There's more videos to come.